Hello and welcome once again to Speakeasy with Paul F Tompkins. I am still Paul F Tompkins, and you will recognize my guest this time from his countless film and television appearances, most notably Saturday Night Live, and as Doug Wilson on the TV show Weeds. Please say hello to Kevin Nealon. Kevin, hello.
Oh, thank you, Paul.
I imagine they're saying hello to you from
Yeah,
the
hey,
privacy
cheers.
of their own
Cheers.
homes. Cheers to you.
And by the way, they are not countless TV appearances. You
Did
can
somebody-
actually count them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You go to my IMDb page.
IMDb.
Yeah, it's the Internet Movie Database.
Sure.
And you could actually count them.
Well, they're not. Are they numbered?
Yeah, they are actually
Oh,
numbered.
that's smart.
Yeah, so somebody did actually, they've been counted already.
Oh, that's smart. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for being here. I haven't seen you in quite a while. It's nice to see you again.
You too.
We know each other from the world of comedy.
Yes. Yeah.
You co-signed that?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
agree that we
I
know
agree.
each other from the
That's
world
true.
of comedy? Okay.
That is true.
You started, how old were you when you started stand-up?
I was 24.
20? That's kind of, well, that's somewhat late, right? I mean, did you always know that you wanted to do it?
I did. You know, originally I wanted to be in music because I grew up like in the 70s and I loved like Crosby, Stills and Nash and James Taylor and I loved playing the guitar and stuff. And so I kind of fancied myself as getting into the music scene, but it was just too intimidating to get on stage and it was too revealing and personal to sing actually, you know.
But you did write songs? You had like...
No.
Even privately, you didn't have...
Oh,
like,
I tried to write.
Right.
But here's the first couple of lyrics of a song I wrote. Let me see if I remember it. You tried to hold on to the love in your heart. Oh, you tried to hold on to the feeling that's gone. In your heart, I know you did. But you let it go. And da 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 da. And then I start crying. You know, I could never finish the song.
Right. Because the page would get wet.
Yeah. So anyway, comedy came more easy to me because, you know, I just like telling jokes.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when you're growing up, did you have the Parade magazine where they had my favorite jokes in the back?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
So they had different comics' favorite jokes in there, like Stanley Meyer and Handelman and, you know, Dangerfield, things like that.
Yeah.
And I would memorize those jokes and I'd go to parties in my neighborhood where, you know, just guys standing around stuff. And I'd join like a group of guys talking and say, hey, did you guys hear about the, you know, right from the Parade magazine, did you guys hear about the this guy who stole a fire truck downtown today? And they think I was serious. No, you really? I said, yeah. What happened to the guy? Well, he was arrested 2 hours later by some guy who stole a cop car. Oh, get out of here, you know. So I would like personalize them, you know.
Right.
And somebody told me you should go to, you should check out those comedy clubs in New York City. And you know, and I thought, well, yeah, that's an idea, but I'd have to come up with my own material.
Right.
And I went to the Catch a Rising Star, which was kind of like the, you know, the epitome of comedy clubs back then.
Yeah.
That and the Improv, and it was so intimidating because it was packed in there with the New York audience, smoking and, you know, just brash. And then the comics get on stage and it was crowded and the comics were like Richard Belzer and Barry Diamond, Larry David. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is too scary, you know? And I figured California would be a little more laid back, you know, there's more prop comics out there and stuff, you know? And so this is the craziest thing. I was raking leaves in my yard. I grew up in Connecticut. And I would bring the radio out there, and there was a special bulletin that Freddie Prinze had just killed himself. And for some sick reason, I thought, well, there's an opening in Hollywood for another comic.
Like you took it as a sign.
It was kind of a sign.
Right.
Yeah, and it also showed me how important comedy was, where if a comedian would pass away like that it would be a big story. You know, people love to laugh. So yeah, I came out here when I was 23, and then got into it shortly thereafter.
For the beginning of your career, I would say probably up through SNL, your stand-up was not very personal. It was very conceptual and very joke-oriented.
Yeah.
And now you know you're married and you have a son, and you get more into stories from your own life.
Well, when you first start out in stand-up, as you know, you're emulating somebody. When I was starting out, everybody, like at the Comedy Store and the Improv, they were either doing David Letterman, Richard Pryor, or Steve Martin.
Right.
Basically those three.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was doing Steve Martin. So a lot of my act was silly, broad stuff. And I think as a comic, it's like a blues musician. You really have to live a life and evolve and kind of be comfortable on stage and really figure out what your style is and what you're trying to say.
It's quite a process. It takes
It is.
takes a while.
Well, it's the hardest thing for anybody is to figure out who they are and then say what they want to say.
Yeah.
You know, and I used to do a thing on SNL on Weekend Update where I would talk about what I'm really trying to say. You know.
Oh,
And I keep changing it. Yeah, that's what I'm really trying to say. Forget that other stuff. I was just dodging bullets and I was just running around the bases. I didn't know what was going on. But no, seriously, you've got to be persistent in life to win. And winning is the important thing. That's what I'm really trying to say. Winning is the important thing. Forget about that other stuff. You know?
I suppose that's inspired by actual life, the process of living and becoming more comfortable in your own skin. And
Yeah, and I've always had trouble articulating my feelings or what I'm trying to say. You know, I've never been good at that, and it's been a lifelong process too. So it's kind of like a double challenge for me to do stand-up and have something to say in front of people when it's hard for me to articulate. I wish there was a class I could have taken that would just, there probably is, you know, teaches you how to express yourself.
Right.
You know, why are you feeling sad? Okay, this is what you need to say to let people know.
Has it become easier since you've been married?
I think when you're with a woman who are very good at, you know, expressing their feelings, certainly it's an opportunity to learn how to express your feelings. Because that's the big complaint I think a lot of women have is that, you know, men don't express their feelings. They don't share their emotions. I don't know how to tell you that. I don't know how to express that in another way.
You put a perfect button on it, and then you reach for the beer.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how we know that thought is done. You were recommended by Dana Carvey for SNL, right?
Yeah.
And was that a goal of yours to be on that show?
Not at all.
Because you weren't a character guy.
No, I
really.
didn't do
Yeah.
sketches. I didn't do accents. I was never in an improv group. I was a stand-up. It's really what I wanted to do was stand-up comedy. That's what I had my sights on. And then I got out to Los Angeles, and then Mark Lanau, who was Bud Friedman's partner at the improv, asked me one day, he goes, "Do you ever think about acting? Do you want to act?" And for some reason, I felt kind of shy about that. I said, "Well, I guess so." And, you know, he goes, "Well, you should take some acting class because someday some casting agent is going to come in the showroom and see you doing stand-up and want you to come in and read for their show." So I took some lessons. But the Saturday Night Live thing was, Dana was up for it. He was renting a room over the garage in this house I was living at in the Hollywood Hills when he came down from San Francisco. So he was there a lot during the year. So Dana and I used to kind of fool around with characters and stuff in the driveway. And I was dating Jan Hooks at the time, and she was up for the show. And I was excited for them. And then Dana calls me once from Lorne Michaels' house in Amagansett that summer, before the first season was going to be on. He goes, "Hey, I'm at Lorne Michaels' house in Amagansett. I'm in the back bedroom. Oh, guess who's in the kitchen?"
And he's like whispering.
Yeah. He's like, "Guess who's in the kitchen? It's Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd." I said, "You're kidding me." He goes, "No. Anyway, I told Lauren about you. They're looking for one more cast member. I think they might want to fly you, see your tapes." I said, "Chevy Chase is in the kitchen?" So, you know, I never even thought anything of it. You know, I said, all right, well, whatever. So, you know, I sent my tapes in, never thinking to hear about it again, because, you know, I'm a stand-up.
Yeah.
And Dana calls me like a week later. "I'm back out at Lauren's house. I'm in the back bedroom. Guess who's in the kitchen? It's Paul Simon and Jane Curtin." "You're kidding me." "Anyway, I think Lauren liked your tape. I think he's gonna fly you in. You know, Jane Curtin's in the kitchen." So I was totally not nervous about it at all. I never thought anything would come of it. So I fly in with, thinking it was going to be me and maybe a couple other people. But so like Hollywood, you're flying in with like 100 other people, but there's one part. Even the pilot came out of the cockpit. "Hey, you guys think this is funny for my audition?" And we get
working on this pilot character.
Yeah, I'm not really a pilot, but I really do a good character study. I actually fly the plane. So we get there, and I'm the only one that's not nervous because I know I'll never get it. I'm a stand-up.
Right. So at this point, you're going for the experience.
I'm going for the experience.
Like, yeah, why not do this? Yeah.
I'd like to hang out in New York for a day or two. Go up to Studio 8H, and where they do the show, and I auditioned in front of Lauren, and it was John Lovitz, Dennis Miller, Nora Dunn, A. Whitney Brown, Dana Carvey was there, and I just did some of my stand-up that I did on the Tonight Show, and a couple of the characters that Dana and I used to work on, or just fool around with in the parking lot of our house. And said thank you, left, everybody's outside pacing, they're nervous, they're sweating. I had a great time. I go home, I go back to LA, forgot about it. A week or two later, I'm meeting with Lorne Michaels, and he's telling me he wants to hire me. And I said, well, let me, he said, we'll hire you as a feature player and a writer for the first season. I said, well, let me think about it over the weekend. He said, well, you think about it over the weekend. We'll see you in New York on Monday.
When did you become comfortable with acting?
Probably after taking some meds. You know, that kind of relaxed me a little bit.
Is that really what it took?
No. You know, I think because I was doing stand-up for a while, it wasn't that hard of a transition to get into acting.
Right.
But it probably took a couple years to get really comfortable.
Because acting on film you're still performing, but it's a different animal than being in front of a live audience. Because there's all this technical stuff that you've never had to think about before.
Yeah.
And you have to worry about. And there's a million people around you, and
Yeah.
you know everyone, and you need to do your thing right.
People ask me a lot. They say, "Hey, it must be fun working on weeds. You know, it seems like you guys have a lot of fun." And I'm thinking, why would they think we have fun on there? Because it's about weed, you know? But basically, it's like any other TV show. You wait in your trailer.
Yeah.
You run your lines until you think you have them. You go over them and over them, and then they knock on the door. Hey, you're up, and they're fooling with the mics, you know, and they're still not ready yet. They're getting the lighting ready, and then you do your take. And you don't get any, yeah, that's great. It's just like, Bobby, can you hit that light and get the flag above that light? You're getting a glare over here. All right, action. Do it again. And then you're back in your trailer.
Right.
Learning the next scene.
But still, weed.
Weed, fun.
Yeah. Just the idea of it. To be around the idea of weed, it's a lot of fun. You have some stuff in the can.
I have a lot of stuff in the can. And it's out on the side of the road. To be picked up tomorrow.
Every week, like clockwork.
Every week.
That's right.
But I do have a couple of films coming out. I have one called Blended with Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler that we shot in South Africa.
Yeah, and now, well, you guys were there. You saw Nelson Mandela's prison cell.
Yeah, that was amazing. You haven't been there?
I have not been there.
You know, it's on Robben Island, right off of Cape Town, and the people that are giving the tours are actually ex-prisoners that used to live there, and they showed us Nelson Mandela's cell. Which is a Starbucks now. And
That's a shame.
That's not, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Maybe a coffee bean and tea leaf. But anyway, it's amazing, just a small cell, and he was there for 18 years, and I had my picture taken in front of it. And at first, I was taking a picture smiling and all like, and then, you know, very quickly after that I thought, wait, this is not right. This is not being sensitive, you know. So the picture ended up being more like this.
Yeah. That's more respectful.
Yeah.
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 What are you gonna do?
But that's a long flight. That's like a 20-hour flight from here to.
That's your takeaway from visiting Nelson Mandela's cell.
To go that far to see his cell really is quite a tribute.
It makes you think.
There's even an astronaut sitting behind us on the plane going, "Geez, when are we going to be there? This is ridiculous." I said, "But aren't you used to long flights like this? Not on a plane."
Yeah, if you're flying to space, I think you can have as many snacks as you want. I think you can, you know.
But they're freeze-dried.
Kevin, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
All right.
You're in a movie called Walk of Shame.
Yes, sir.
You don't deny it.
There's no denying there.
All right. It also stars Elizabeth Banks.
Yes.
What is this film about?
This film.
I feel like I have an idea from the title.
Yeah.
But I want to hear it from you.
This film is basically, it's about a aspiring newscaster who wants to make that jump from local to national. And she has a very, very big audition meeting coming up the next day for it, but she finds out that it's been canceled or they're hiring somebody else. So she goes to a bar and drowns her sorrows, hooks up with a guy, goes back to his place. She wakes up in the morning with a text message, I think it is, telling her that the meeting is on, they're very interested. She's got to get to across town, but her car's been towed. So it's this walk of shame going from this guy's house, trying to get to this meeting on time.
Without spoiling anything, how does it end?
She gets the part.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, but I'm not going to tell you when her start date is. But she does get the role, and it's funny.
And what is Blended about?
Blended is about the same thing.
Really?
Yes, it's just a
And
different title.
You're in both of them?
I'm in both. Well, it's really one movie, but they're re-releasing it under the name Blended.
Right.
Now, Blended is about a movie.
Oh, this is interesting.
No, Blended is a movie about two single parents that end up going on the same vacation in South Africa at the same resort, booked into the same suite. And they ultimately, well, I don't want to give it away, but they fall in love and they get together at the end. That's the movie in a nutshell.
Thanks for nutshelling it for me.
It's such a short movie, it actually is in a nutshell. That's how they keep it.
Is that where it's playing?
It's no. They store it in a nutshell.
Oh, so they don't have those big cans anymore.
No,
It's just in a nutshell.
That's back.
Yeah,
That's way back.
The old days, right?
Yeah.
As we were saying before, you're still doing stand-up. You recently had a show at...
I'll always do stand-up comedy.
Do you think you always will?
Yeah, it's what I started out doing.
Yeah. And it's still, you still enjoy it?
I still enjoy it. The traveling is the thing that I'm not so crazy about. So I get a gig. I like in-town gigs. You know, so I get this gig in Camp Pendleton, down in Oceanside. And
You say to your agent, look, give me something in town. Any army bases? Any sort of, are there any aircraft carriers docked?
so I figure, okay, great. They're, Marines very appreciative, great guys, girls. 1,600 Marines. It's single Marines that are usually, they're about 18 or 19 years old. This is specifically for the single Marines because the married couples and families, they get a lot of attention down there. So
And these are people that have not been in the service that long, if they're that young.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have Big Mike, the MC. He gets things going.
I'll bet he does.
He's got the
I'll bet Big
he's
Mike
got
gets
the
things
hip hop
going.
music and all that
Right.
stuff. These guys are 18, 19,
Yeah.
They never saw me on SNL.
Right.
Probably never even saw Weeds.
Right.
And then the other comic is an urban comic who does a lot of that hip hop comedy. And then there's an ex-Marine that's going on. And then me. And then B.O.B., rap artist, after me. They introduce me. And you ever come out on stage and you're knowing like right off the bat that there's not a connection there? Well, that was the case.
Yeah.
And I'm going through my material in my head, throwing stuff out that I think they're going to like. And I'm used to getting pretty good response on a lot of these bits, And it's just not really happening. But in hindsight, they did laugh a lot, but it just wasn't the response I was used to.
Yeah.
And and I'd see people out there texting, slouched and waiting for the rap artist to come out. But what I've learned is after you feel like you've bombed, never admit that you bombed. Just come back and say, "Wow, all right, good times," whatever.
Oh, you mean while you're there?
Yeah, while you're still on the premise.
Right.
Like to the promoter.
Right.
Just say, "Okay, good crowd, man." And inside you're just But they did. A lot of them came up afterwards. They wanted pictures. You were great. You were great. So maybe I'm just being critical.
But I know what you mean. That you when you're doing tried and true material, you do have an expectation of the response that it's going to get, and when that doesn't happen, it's like you don't seem to understand. But one of the things that I love about stand-up is that no matter how long you've been doing it, you're not immune to experiences like that.
No.
Like it could happen at any time.
You could not have sweated for maybe 15 years performing, and then one night you could just like have the cold sweats and be bombing.
Yeah, it's a humbling experience in the best way.
Yeah.
That it keeps you honest. That like, okay, all right, I gotta.
And then you start going over your head, I wonder what so-and-so would have done in this position. I wonder what Robin Williams would have done. He'd probably gone out in there and go, all right. But no.
Probably exactly what he would have done.
Yeah.
Kevin, you have so many, there's various projects coming out.
Who would you say is the alcoholic here?
Well, this is my fifth.
Oh,
Yeah.
Then you're definitely the alcoholic.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
My thanks to Kevin Nealon. Please join us again on Speakeasy next time when my guest will be a different person. Oh, it's a different guest each time.
Oh, really?
So after this, you're free.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So that's how you keep it fresh.
Yeah. It makes a big difference. When we first did it, it was the same person over and over again.
Wow.
It was former President Jimmy Carter.
Oh, he's very funny.
I like that TV show Cheers.
No, it's Cheers, I think.
Really?
I'm pretty sure that it's Cheers.
No, they were all sitting in chairs.
I
while
know that they had chairs.
Norm especially had. Well,
Norm!
Norm!